You know what's funny is Downing Street are quite good at sort of pushing out the lines that they would want to push out, and the Times has got one this morning. Keir Starmer expected to resist pressure from President Trump and the British military to increase defence spending to 2.5% because of concerns about the state of the public finances, which, you know. I mean, apparently we haven't got enough money. But he just went to Ukraine last week, or the week before, and promised Zelensky another $4.5 billion, didn't he?
Well, it seemed to have enough money to allow people who were working in the Treasury to have their advertising a role for that allowed them to have an entire day off a week to focus on gender issues or something to that effect.
Well, here's a sign that things are not perhaps as they should be. I don't know if you spotted this at the weekend. It was Burns night on Saturday night. Being Scottish, I celebrate it, of course. And so I had a little bit of haggis. And the Prime Minister put out this tweet, which had 4 pictures in it, one of which, I don't know if we can sort of nose in on the top one. There you go. There he is with a drag queen. Now,
this drag queen's also been critical, I think, of JK Rowling, if I'm right.
This is a Scottish drag queen, apparently, from Helensburgh, which is a place I know well. But, I mean, is that really the image he wants to put out there? And an awful lot of people in Scotland were not happy. They were like, is this really how he sees celebrations of Burns Night? And clearly he's under pressure from the people, the gender maniacs inside of the Labour Party to do it. But I mean, it's pretty sad, isn't it?
It's proving that Number 10 is as diverse as the jet fuel.
It is. And just about as useless.
I mean, this, along with so many other stories that we've seen even in the last couple of weeks alone, I think people just see that they're sort of piddling money down the drain whilst also saying, oh, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that. And on something like defence, when we face the kind of geopolitical situation that we have with Russia and China and all of the complexities of that, what's recently happened also in Syria and Israel, and, you know, the list just goes on and on. It's endlessly complicated. The world is changing. That list of phone calls and Trump's priorities show the world is changing. And I just think that if they think this is good optics to put this out there, it's wildly irresponsible to not increase defence spending. It should be our number one priority.
And what I think this is, which is even more depressing in its way, is that this is their kind of sop to the left wing of the party, because the left wing of the party won't actually be happy that Donald Trump made a phone call to Keir Starmer. They would rather that Keir Starmer aligned himself closer to Europe, would rather Keir Starmer said, I don't like him, like he used to say when he was in opposition. I won't be inviting him to dinner, was what he used to say. Now he wants to bring him on a state visit. So his left of his party isn't happy with that. So he gives them a little sop to say, I'm going to defy Donald Trump. I'm not going to do what he wants. Oh, really? Well, wait till he makes the phone call that says, oh, here's 25% tariffs on British goods, like he did with Colombia, and then we'll see how fast he changes his mind, shall we?
Yeah, quite. I mean, my theory is that I might be completely off base here, but I think one of the reasons why Trump is maybe being so friendly with Starmer is, you know, maybe is to mess with him a little bit,
I think
psychologically, a bit of a game. But I think it can't be completely divorced from Trump's desire to get Greenland off of Denmark, because we have first refusal because of a deal that we signed, I think it was in 1917.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the time, I think we
could all move to Denmark.
Canada was still a British territory, and so it was closest to Greenland. We had first refusal. We still have first refusal. And so maybe that's one of the reasons why. But it was interesting because obviously it was being reported they had a very warm and personable chat. It was a very nice chat that they had. And you saw people like Anna Soubry in the most unhinged way saying, oh, it's, you know, something to the effect of, oh, you know, it's remarkable that we're even talking about how Trump is being nice and so on, that's something, as if Trump is this, you know, dribbling monster or something.
I know. But this is how
this is how they would report it if it was any other world leader. They had a nice chat.
Of course. Anna Soubry, of course, I don't even know why anybody talks to her anymore. She's not an MP anymore. She's not somebody of any importance, really. We're going to talk about council tax in a second. Before we do that, you might not have seen this if you blinked at the weekend, but Rachel Reeves and Kemi Badenoch were both on with Laura Kuenssberg, and they were asked about the Beatles, because she had an interview with Paul McCartney as well. Check this out.
For reasons that will become clear, I wonder what your favourite Beatles song is, Rachel Reeves.
Well, I'm more of a Beyonce person myself, Laura. But Hey Jude, I enjoy that song.
And what about you? Are you a Beatles fan?
Yellow Submarine.
Yellow Submarine? Well, I'm sure there'll be very popular choices with the audience.
I mean, funnily enough, of course, the press made a huge thing out of Kemi Badenoch saying Yellow Submarine, because obviously, if you don't know the Beatles, you will say that. If you haven't got a favourite Beatles song, you'll say Yellow Submarine. Nobody made anything of Rachel Reeves saying she prefers Beyonce to the Beatles. Seriously?
I think the idea that Kemi Badenoch's favourite Beatles song is Yellow Submarine is actually quite fun.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a...
It's a bit of a Mickey-taking
songs.
song. It's Ringo Starr's only song, I think, isn't it, that made it onto any Beatles
it's the sort of
album.
thing that you sing in an East End pub when you've had a bit too much to drink.
Exactly.
But the idea of Rachel Reeves being more of a Beyonce gal is
yeah, that's kind
really
of embarrassing.
hard to imagine.
It is. Probably not true either. That would have to be said.
Maybe if she'd gone the whole hog and said Cardi B, that would have been...
Yeah, that might have, yeah. Or, no, I'm not going to say what I was about to say because he's under indictment, so I better not. Anyway, listen, 6:30, I'm Mike Graham. This is the Home of Common Sense. This from Alan in Merseyside. Rachel Reeves says she's been called worse than Rachel from accounts. I bet she has. And Daniel in Surrey says, regarding the possibility of a Heathrow third runway, what's changed with the we must reach net zero obsession, and who owns the airport nowadays? Well, that's a good one. And Mark in Caterham says, I thought planes circled when waiting to land. Well, yeah, they do. Exactly right. So she reckons now they won't be circling anymore because they'll be able to land because there'll be a third runway. Can you imagine how long it will take, by the way? I mean, China would build about 10 airports in a year. It will take us probably 10 years to build one, won't
Probably
it?
build half the runway.
Yeah.
Realise we've run out of money.
Yes.
Like HS2.
Oh, and then you'll only be able to land small planes.
And then they'll have to put a bat box over the whole thing.
Right.
And
Oh yeah, of course. You know, when you drive past Heathrow Airport as well, they have the M4, which is a motorway, so it should have a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. Has a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. Do you know why? Because it says this is a clean air zone. And you go, I can literally smell the rocket fuel, you know, that's just been dumped over Hounslow by a great big jumbo jet because they had to reconnect with the landing gear.
the whole thing is so fast.
I know, isn't it just? I mean, if you lit a torch, you know, lit a cigarette in a car, you'd probably blow up. It's that, you know, there's that much oil and aviation fuel in the atmosphere.
I can't remember who it was who said if you want to live in a city like London, then you know you shouldn't expect clean air. If you want clean air, live outside the city.
Yeah, exactly.